Best Bet Show is present, recording live. Thank you for joining us on the YouTube channel, sponsored by Circa Sports. Seize up the best damn sports book, period. That's my new tagline for the boys out there in Vegas. We'll be there next weekend and the weekend after. A lot of the desert in our future. Championship Saturday, Kai. A lot of auto bids on the line, or I guess stepping stone to the championship game tomorrow. We'll get to all your thoughts on what happened last night, and just your thoughts on this great holiday in general.
Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day for those who celebrate. I know it's tomorrow, but we celebrate today in Chicago. That's what Chicago does. Blah blah blah. Craziness continues. I can't believe the MEAC title game does not involve Moten or Jones. Crazy. Del State. Wow. Delaware State. Stan Waterman. Stand up. Good job. Way to get there.
Stan the man Waterman.
I can't believe UC Irvine lost. That's shocking to me. And I can't believe the Conference USA, Jim. Holy moly. We're going to talk that title game, obviously, later on in the show, but crazy results, we'll say, all around.
Yeah, and then you go to the SEC, and all three top seeds lost outright. Like Tennessee got absolutely punked, Kentucky got absolutely punked, Alabama got punked. Like every one of those games was a blowout. Kind of surprising considering all year that has been the conference of like awesome games. Last year it was really the Big East at the top half. This year it was more the SEC. Every game was great and high scoring, and those fraudy defenses got kind of exposed. And even Tennessee, they were getting like destroyed at the rim. That was wild to me. Not a typical Rick Barnes kind of performance, but maybe in March it kind of is. I don't know. Yeah, Matt, we had some wild stuff. The late UT Arlington game, the final game of the WAC, the night is always crazy. My God, Ben Wilson out there announcing, getting a couple of buzzer beaters there. Fun games yesterday, even more great ones today, higher stakes. I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of massive in-game swings, collapses.
Yes.
Like, man, how about I mean, our minors? I know we're team minor here, but tough to see the Sam Houston, the Fighting Chris Mudges go down in flames. It's an absolute disastrous last 10 minutes of that game. Among many other collapses. And yeah, Jim, you mentioned like the poorest defenses from some of the SEC teams. Like some of these big conference teams, probably in the tournament, you really locked in 110% every defensive possession when you're going to be playing next Thursday for something that actually matters. I don't know. Anyway, but congrats to A&M and Mississippi State, the two more desperate teams, got their big ol' victories. It probably puts them safely-ish in the dance. This is not a bracketology discussion. This is a best bets discussion, and we proceed with the rundown. Marquette versus UConn, we will talk first. It is a big number, but that's because Tyler Kolek is not playing, and it's also because UConn's just really freaking good right now. The spreads in the regular season, Kai, close 5 and 7. Now you get a 2-point higher number on a neutral site after just getting 7 at home. And I think it's actually justified. As crazy and as backwards as that sounds, and as my technical brain would want to bet Marquette here, I think the lack of depth's gonna bite up or gonna catch up to him today.
Yeah. Hey, Marquette, credit to them. Winning 2 games without Kolek in this tournament is impressive. Obviously, just kind of survived Villanova, but the Providence game was impressive. Yeah, it's 9 points too many. St. John's was a 9-point dog. Do you think St. John's and Marquette are equal teams without Kolek? Maybe. I guess you can make that argument. Is Kolek worth 4 points? Ken Palm's got this 5. He might be. Maybe. These last 2 games, I really haven't seen it against Providence. Obviously, Marquette covered pretty easily. But it's UConn, man. They beat Marquette by 28 and by 7 this season. They're just so hard to stop. So many weapons. If it's not Klingon, it's Caravan. If it's not him, it's Spencer or it's Newton. It's an embarrassment of riches, Jim. We've talked about it for weeks. I've sworn off fading them, so I will pass on this game.
Yeah, I don't want to fade him either. You got the Shaka underdog angle, 96 and 62 in his career,
Still good.
essentially just 60% bet as an underdog. But 2 of those losses of those 62 are to UConn as a dog this year. They got absolutely thrashed in stores, and then not great in Milwaukee either. The first game also without, or that game was also without Kolek, and you kind of saw just the limitations for Marquette in that game. And yeah, the balance that UConn brings, it's like Newton is their big time facilitator, but then Cam Spencer has 9 assists yesterday, chucking perfect lobs to Samson Johnson. Steph Castle, you try to zone them, you isolate him at the free throw line, he goes 1-on-1 against a guy with slow feet and he can score. The spacing is good enough when Newton's making shots. Spencer and Caravan are great shooters. That's kind of all they have in that department, but it's enough. And they have vertical spacing, Matthew, which is a kind of a rare thing for college teams. Klingon and Johnson are just wreckers when they're rolling down the lane as lob threats. Hurley's talked about it in some of his post-game stuff, how valuable it is to have those guys. Marquette is solid defensively and maybe even a little better without Kolek, TBD. But I just think UConn's a little bit too much. I have a UConn to win the Big East tournament future. I might hedge out a little on the spread, Matt, and hope to win both, but I do think UConn wins this game, so I'm not like running to hedge out.
Yeah, every point kind of made about like do you believe this to be true? I think I said no to all of those, but yet my final gut like last stand is just saying no, don't bet Marquette here. So I'm not going to. That's all we have. Let's go to Big 12 country. Houston against Iowa State. Very impressive performance from Iowa State. I guess both teams yesterday. Key headline here, though, is Juwan Roberts comes down holding his shin in major pain. Another unfortunate turn of events for Houston's injury-riddled season. It's been multiple years in a row. It's been that way now, Kai. Still, they're Houston, and they're nearly unflappable. Are you looking to lay 5.5 and what should be a very, very low-scoring game? The total at 121.5 per Circa. That's too low, by the way. But Kai, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's fine. He's like shin bruise, contusion bruise, that sort of thing. Yeah, that probably hurts like crap, but he's good. Yeah, Houston, stop getting hurt. This Houston team's amazing. They're so dominant on defense, it's ridiculous. They just smoked Texas Tech, who just smoked BYU. This team is on a different level. They have 16 Q1 wins. UConn and Purdue have 12. They have 4 more Q1 wins than UConn. And yet they don't get talked about even a percentage of what UConn gets talked about. It's criminal. Now, the Clones have beaten Houston. They're one of 3 teams that beat them. They get to the free throw line a lot. Houston fouls a lot. That was their big advantage against Houston in their win, 22 free throw attempts. They're not at Hilton, Jim. I think that's pretty key here. It is the best 2 defenses in the country, Matt. The total you speak of, yeah, it's low. But, man, these teams defend. I personally think Houston gets it done. I think they dominate the glass. I think they can handle Iowa State's pressure. They just need to stay away from the dumb fouls. So lean towards Houston.
Yeah, it's not Hilton, but it's Hilton South. Like the videos of the Iowa State fans in KC was absolutely insane yesterday. Jeff Goodman posted one of them in like Power and Light, just taking the entire place over. Should also be mentioned with the previous game. I saw someone in the chat say it, but heavy pro UConn crowd at MSG. So not really neutral. It's kind of semi-home. Same as this for a little bit for Iowa State there against Houston. Yeah, Matt, that was my first thought looking at spread and total was this. It's kind of sicko that it's down at 121, but I kind of like the over. Both games went over per shot quality in the regular season. First one at Iowa State was like an ugly grinder, but then the one at Houston like sailed over, easily went over. So I think especially if Roberts is a little limited and they got to play some smaller lineups with Dunn at the 4, more spacing, less defense there. Although Dunn was actually okay defensively yesterday per my eye test, which shocked me. But I do think the over is like my bigger lean here, even though it's disgusting. And Iowa State could have 2 points in the first 8 minutes, like both TCU and Texas Tech did. And then you're going to feel like a big dumb bozo for betting the over. But that is my lean there. In terms of a side, man, I think Iowa State can keep it close, but I am not strong leaning on either of those, Matt. So not betting a side in this game.
Yeah, hard pass for me. Fun game, obviously. Physical, very physical. We'll see what I think you're going to have some shot making emerge from Iowa State. We saw Oklahoma kind of bust that from against Houston. That's the only team that's really had any success offensively. You have to make some tough shots, kind of why Houston's defense is so damn good. You can't really rely on that as a reliable source of offense.
Also,
all right, we go to the
Iowa
ACC.
State just owns Baylor, man. 9 straight covers against them. Ridiculous.
Yeah. That's a very clear stylistic kryptonite that plays sometimes in handicapping. Let's go to DC ACC title game. North Carolina versus NC State. Fun little rivalry here, Kai. Third opportunity for NC State to knock off their big brother in-state foe. I don't think they do it. The number's 9.5. Playing their 4th game in 4 days. That doesn't really matter, but it probably might matter. 5th and 5th days.
Yeah.
But DJ Burns and those lumbering knees, man, I got to think he's
there's nothing lumbery about those, baby. They're quick as
God, what an absolute boss.
He's limber.
Nimble.
Just real quick, Kai, he was not real good in the last game between UNC. I think he's a tough matchup.
Either game.
Right? I just think the Tar Heels can exploit him on both ends. That's my 2 cents here.
Yeah, he didn't have great games in either UNC game, and UNC kind of handled NC State twice. Apologies. I think it was Teacher's Bracket that tweeted, if Keats wins this game, he gets an automatic 2-year extension in his contract. I hope it happens. Oh, shit. I hope it happens. That'd be very funny. Keats rumored to be on the hot seat, maybe getting let go. If NC State wins, bubble teams everywhere are crying. Them in Oregon today, huge bid sealers, in the AAC as well. But yeah, man, NC State, I've been impressed with them the last couple of games. I mean, you talk about hot hand theory. It is 5-5. That seems pretty impossible, especially in a conference like the ACC. UNC, I mentioned, did beat them twice. Hey, game one, NC State, 2 for 20 from three. Anybody that shoots 2 for 20 from three is going to lose. But man, UNC, credit where credit's due. Tons of weapons. Really like the talent, obviously. Davis and Baycott, All American 1-2 punch. I lean NC State covering. Jim, I'd be pretty surprised if they won.
Yeah, when you think about 5-5, you think about Kemba Walker and you think about DJ Burns.
Yeah.
Those are just
DJ Burns.
right next to each other in your mind, the same kind of player, creating the same kind of madness out there on the court. Yeah, I thought Pitt would hang around yesterday. They were tied 62-62 with 2:30 left. And then RJ Davis said, no, I'm going to win. You're going to go home. And that's exactly what happened. He's just a difference maker. It's great having a guard who can just completely take over, create his own shot, hit a little step back. He's a dude, fellas. He's a dude. I'm not sure NC State really has that. Horn did not play very well yesterday, and he's been banged up. Could even be exacerbated by the schedule there. And I do think Baycott like sees Burns and kind of rises to the occasion. He's a big boy. He can bang with him down low. That's if you can cover Burns somehow with single coverage and not get torn up by him spraying the ball around. He's a really, really good passer. Then you can kind of keep NC State at bay. And I think he can kind of do that. Jalen Washington maybe a little bit too. So Matt, yeah, I think it's kind of a big number. Maybe lean NC State a number, but my gut looked at this and said it's a bad matchup, and UNC is playing extremely well and has that. I mean, they fully clinch the last one seed if they win, and they probably have it either way.
Yeah, let's go to Pac-12. I don't have anything else to add on this one. The Pac-12 is fascinating. I want to talk
I
Buffs
want to
versus
talk about
Ducks.
the team that beat Duke. Wah.
No, it doesn't matter. Like NC State's not gonna they're gonna lose this game and UNC will be out by second round. So it's fine. And so will Duke. Duke and UNC will be fishing by
Wow.
second weekend. That's my hot take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna my ACC short is gonna be in full effect in the tournament. I'm out. But hey, Pac-12, it'll be extinct this time next year. So cherish it for all that it is today. You Pac-12 diehards out there, all 12 of you. But Kai, Colorado versus Oregon. Cody Williams back for his second straight game. The Buffs defense has looked awesome. They've surrendered or not surrendered more than 60 points in 3 straight games. Played 18 minutes yesterday after playing 24 minutes the day before. Oregon, the key issue here, N'Faly Dante with a injury yesterday. It sounds like he's going to play today, but could be sore per Altman. Obviously a very important piece. But without him or with him not at 100%, a brilliant game plan from Dana Altman against Arizona. Do they keep that going today? A little more zone and the old throwback mix and matchy Ducks.
I hearken you back to 2019. Oregon won the Pac-12 tournament. They got a 12 seed. They made the Sweet 16. They almost beat Virginia to go to the Elite Eight. I think they can do it again. Colorado probably sealed a bid with their Wazoo win, but it is still up for interpretation. They have just one win against an at-large opponent. They have 0 Q&A wins. They're certainly not for sure. Colorado did sweep Oregon this year, and they're playing great basketball. Matt mentioned it. 8 straight wins. Colorado looks great right now. Jim, I kind of feel it in my plums that the Ducks are going to win. There's something about Dana Altman in March. There's something about the run they're on. There's something about 2019 that I can't shake. I'm leaning towards Oregon.
Yeah, I think the point that Matt and you're both kind of making about Dana in March and his changing defense, like he fully brought that back yesterday, completely threw Arizona off kilter in the second half, had them mega off balance, not sure what was coming on each possession. And that's like such a tough prep with an immediate turnaround. Colorado beat Washington State at like midnight Central last night, and then they got a tip again tonight. The one caveat here or one worry, Altman is 10-16 against the spread against Boyle, 0-5 last 5. Like it seems like Boyle's kind of owned him. But again, I just think they're playing differently in the postseason with those changing defenses. It was like all man all season. And it feels like it's a talented team that started to come together. Matthias, the Oregon Ducks, we liked them preseason. We thought the freshmen coming in with some of the holdovers would actually go well together. And now it's finally seeming to click like that. But Colorado is playing well. I don't know. I like Oregon. I think they win. I think they steal a bid, and somebody is sad when that happens.
Yeah, so money, it's 2.5 current price. So some money on Colorado here, short favorite. Total bet down to 142, 142.5. Does feel a little undery. Oregon's kind of embracing a little more of a mucky DNA lately. It seems like it's been successful. And in Colorado too, right? Let's talk about their defense, how good that's been. Maybe that one's an ugly rock fight to settle the Pac-12 score. All right, it's Chop Mob round one. The czar of which is who today? I forgot who nominated themselves.
Me, me,
Jimbo?
me, 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 me,
Let's do it.
me, 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 me. All right, Matthew, right back to you. Todd Golden and the Gators took down Alabama in extremely convincing fashion yesterday. Seemed like they are rock and Alabama is scissors, and they just smashed them. But the question today, Matt, is Texas A&M paper. That is the worry here for Florida. They are laying 3 against a physical, brutish Texas A&M squad. Buzz Williams, fantastic in conference tournaments, 19-11 against the spread, and as a dog, 125-95 in his career. Very good bet in both of these kind of settings. Does that sway you here?
It almost did. I agree. I lean at him pretty hard. I was hoping to catch like 4 or 5. It just feels like they haven't done enough lately to prove that they're back to what I thought they'd be preseason, if that makes sense. There's still plenty of holes in their resume, and I've seen the offense in half court settings go completely AWOL. I think if Golden prioritizes transition defense and makes them execute in the half court and just dominate, and at least controls the glass somewhat, they probably keep them at arm's length. So gut like A&M matchup thoughts, probably back to Florida. So I passed.
I very nearly made Texas A&M +3 the best bet,
Best
and
bet.
I am still going to consider it later in the show. I like them a lot today. I also have a Florida 16-1 to win the SEC ticket, so maybe that's clouding my mind, and I'm
And Florida's
worried.
in, right? Like I feel like psychologically they're in. They don't. What's really at stake today? Or A&M, I think a lot more at stake mentally. I don't know.
Maybe there's something in there. Kai, the Big West title game. Believe you nailed the best bet in UC Davis, Hawaii yesterday.
No big deal.
So you are my aficionado out there. UC Davis, I saw laying 2 against the Beach, who shockingly took down Irvine. Although I watched that game, I just like the Beach is more talented than Irvine. So I wasn't totally stunned by the result, but it was disappointing. Your thoughts on the title game?
I'm leaning Eli Pepper and his band of Aggies. Give me UC Davis -2. Yeah, just a gut. I think he can be the best player on the floor. I think he is the best player on the floor, despite Beach's talent. Obviously, Davis just one less game on their legs. If you care about that sort of thing, I really don't. But lean towards Davis, Jim.
I agree. I
And
like Davis too.
Beach with the weird rally around Munson after they announced
Yeah.
him done. I don't know if there's anything to that. Feel free to interpret it as you will. But yeah, best player on the floor is on Davis, and that sometimes matters in these situations. Matty Swaction. Texas Southern survived a scare from Alabama A&M yesterday. They are laying 2.5 in the title game against the 1 seed Grambling. You going with the favorite, which is Texas Southern, or the underdog, which is the 1 seed?
I took Grambling, and here's why you shouldn't take Grambling. They have lost to Texas Southern in the title game 4 times since 2017. Last year, or they swept in the regular season and then lost in the title game again. This year they've split, but the demons are lurking, and I think they've vanquished them today. Dante Jackson, the boys, they're better than Texas Southern. I know Texas Southern's playing better, but pound for pound, I'm betting on the better team getting 3 free points. So I like Grambling.
If I'm correct, they've never made the tournament, right? Grambling.
Ooh, they
They've
want to be
never made a
How many
tournament
they ever
club
have?
like Stetson.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
how about that? All right, next, Matthew, I'm going right back to you because it's your Owls, your FAU Owls. They are taking on the other Owls, the resurgent Temple Owls, who are 4-0 since being investigated for shaving points. Suddenly, a team is playing well after they are on watch for intentionally playing crappy. But a big spread here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's too
FAU
big.
laying 13.5.
It's too big. I mean, I know the spot's good, but this FAU money that comes in like in these better spots, I don't get it. Like I know they covered yesterday, but I don't know if they deserve to cover that game.
Not every number. Old Jim push on 6. Woo.
Oh, you got 6. Good for you. God, sharp. I like Temple Kai. They're actually a good team when healthy and not throwing games. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's way too big. It is in like the Temple value right now is it's a team that's trying, and they had deflated their predictive metrics by literally not trying in previous games. So, Kai, we do have Princeton and Brown going right now, but the other game in the Ivy is a big time showdown. Yale and Cornell, the rubber match.
Yeah.
Yale laying 2.5 on a neutral floor.
I don't know, man. I think these teams are pretty even. I kind of lean Cornell with the points, but I think Yale's really good. I picked Yale to win the I might have taken Princeton, actually, now that I think about it. Doesn't matter. Both these teams would be great representatives of the Ivy in the NCAA tournament. If either team was a dog in this game, I'd probably lean towards the dog. So lean towards Cornell.
Yep, that's where I land. I think they're pretty equal. And I was just disheartened by the blown lead by Yale on the final day of the season against Brown on senior day. Like, it didn't get great vibes out of that. Maddie, you might have come around on South Florida yesterday.
Oh,
They
I've
are
come
taking
so far
on
around.
UAB. Question from Maddie Akers here. USF now laying 2. There's been some UAB money coming in. The Blazers looked really good yesterday too, especially
Yep.
late extending. Your thoughts?
It's the best bet for me, Jim. I've come so far on USF. It's incredible. I added some future national title to my future portfolio, which is probably a bridge too far at this point.
Dangerous.
They're not even in the tournament yet, but I think they are that good. However, the matchup against UAB is probably the one kryptonite in the conference. Like UAB has real size and athletes, which is kind of what USF is has had an advantage on against most of these AAC teams. But UCF's just more skilled, more shot making, and I think they're the better coach team. So I'll take that in a neutral site laying 2. Points, plain and simple.
Fair enough. All right, let's do one more and go back to the outline. We've got plenty of questions in the chat, both Big Ten semis, the MAC tournament, the A10 tournament. But Kai, you're getting the SEC, the other semifinal, Mississippi State and Auburn. Eric had a specific question about the under, which somehow hung on yesterday. Auburn against
Ooh.
South Carolina, insanely. But the total is 143. You can also talk about the side. Please feel free. Auburn laying 7.5 and 8 mostly in the market.
Yeah, I don't really have a good feel for the total. I like Auburn to win this game. I think I lean towards them covering. Tough to beat Mississippi State by 8, so it is pretty high number. But I thought Auburn would win this tournament at the start. I'm a big believer in this team. Just one Q1 win, but don't be fooled. This is a really really good basketball team. I lean towards Auburn.
Yeah, and they might not have to play like major Q1 games in this tournament because Tennessee and Kentucky
Yeah.
are gone, and so is Bama. So, yeah, I don't know. Mississippi State feisty as a dog. They've got the length and athleticism and physicality to match, but guard play shaky. I got no take there. Okay, back to the outline. Matthias, 4 more title games to get to.
Yeah, we head back to the desert, Mountain West action. New Mexico. My Lobos, are they back? Kai?
Yeah,
Championship
yeah,
game on the line today, playing their 4th game in 4 days. Richard Pitino said he has never done this as a head coach. He also said in
it's
the
true.
post-game press that Donovan Dent has dealing with the flu.
Oh
Thinks
no.
he caught it from Jamal Mashburn. I know I heard flu and
Oh no.
I ran for the hills because I was about to lay the wood on New Mexico, but when I hear those 3 ugly letters, I cower in the fetal position. So have that in the back of your mind before you wax poetic about New Mexico, because everything else here, I like New Mexico.
So when did they come down with the flu?
Apparently it was yesterday. I don't know.
After the game?
Donovan Dent played through it last night. I don't know how long he's
Oh,
had
they
it.
did
I don't have
just
the
fine
incubation
yesterday.
period timeline in front of me.
Yeah, San Diego State was my pick pre-tourney. I'm sticking to it. They're the best team in the Mountain West. This team defends, man. People ignore defense. This team defends. Best defense in the league. I trust that in a tournament setting for sure. New Mexico, question mark, are they in? They're 22nd in the net now. That's pretty powerful. Their resume metrics are also getting close. It's not a guarantee. They lack quality wins. They have just 7 across both quadrants, and they have a Q3 and a Q4 loss. So don't breathe easy quite yet, Lobo fans, but I think you have a better chance than not, I think, to get in right now. Guards do win in March, Jim. I just said the defense thing, but guards also win in March. They obviously have 3 great ones in Mexico. I just lean towards San Diego State here with Trammell and Butler having that experience, Ledee being an All-American. I lean towards the Aztecs here at -2.
Yeah, home team won both games by double digits. Obviously, no home court advantage here. Both playing 3rd game in 3 days. Actually, New Mexico 4th in 4 days for them. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure that matters. The first game wasn't mega taxing. They took care of business there. Yeah, to the point in the chat, who stops Ledee? I don't know. Toppin, Nelly Jr., Joseph. I think they'll probably get in foul trouble. Does Ledee make his free throws? That's rather important in a handicap like this. San Diego State yesterday, I think, showed me a little bit offensively. They were down 19, I think, to Utah State or 17, something like that, and came back and won by 16. Just completely flipped the game on its head. It was like a mini version of that Memphis UAB first half suddenly destroy them in the second half type of rally. The guards looked a little better, a little more sharpness to them there. Utah State had some injuries, Falslev not super healthy, but yeah, I'm kind of sold on San Diego State. I think they get the title here. And again, that's like Kai said, it's not automatic that New Mexico's in, especially with the fact that the bubble could shrink in other different areas. I think Lenardi has them last team in. We know he's not perfect, but they're right there. They're right in the cut line. They didn't do any work in the non-conference, so they should very much want to lock this up here and leave no doubt tomorrow. Back to you.
Final note, yeah, tough spot, and Patino mentioned this as well. No, this is an excuse, but they played the late game last night, and it's an early afternoon start today. I think 3 p.m. local, right? This game at 3 p.m. local. So
Hmm.
really tough turnaround going 4-4, especially if you're dealing with flu symptoms. Man, I hope they get the win though. I think they're the better team in this matchup. That's all I'll say.
Oh,
I think the wrong team is favored in this game.
disagree
I do believe
hard.
that.
Man, you
I'm
don't
sure we do. I
respect San
know.
Diego State at all. They've been the best team in
You
the
don't respect New
conference all year.
Mexico. No, New Mexico's played to a high rating all year. I disagree. They've been less consistent, which is why San Jose
Oh,
looks better. But I think the better team is New Mexico
I
for
think
sure.
being more consistent means you played to a higher rating.
hard
That's
to
my take.
hard to disagree on playing to a
No, it
higher
means your
rating.
rating fluctuates. It means you're more bimodal.
San Diego
Different
State's been
different types of
higher
handicaps.
than New Mexico all season in power ratings and analytics. All season.
I think it's been pretty close. I
I'm
don't
not
agree
saying
with
it's
this
not
number.
close, but they've been higher.
Go bet your house on New Mexico, Matt.
No,
You
I'm
think they're
not because they
better.
got the flu, Jim. They're sick. They're coughing and sniffling.
Oh,
Otherwise, I
cop
would.
out,
I,
cop
oh, I would.
out, cop out.
Oh, I would. Hey, I bet them the last 2 nights. I'm okay. I'm fine with my Lobo portfolio. Kai, we're going to Maction. Heading to Cleveland and Rocket Mortgage Arena, where scoring has been a chore for most teams. Kent State playing Akron. It should surely be a rock fight tonight. Total is what? Low 130s still, I believe. 131. Yeah, bet down actually a point and a half from the 133 opener. The Zippity Doodahs -4.5 against Kent State. I like the flashes. I think the mojo continues tonight. And again, we don't trust Akron. I don't at least.
Yeah, it does feel kind of high. Again, picked Akron pre-tourney. I'm sticking to it. I think they win, but would not be shocked to see Kent win. Jim and I were discussing how we can't believe this team went 8-10 and got the 8th seed in the MAC.
Insane.
It's beyond me. I don't understand. This team has talent even without Chris Payton. They have some good players, and they're playing on a completely different level right now, clearly, in the MAC tournament. They can definitely compete in this game. They're also physically tough, and you need to be physically tough against Akron. Clearly, that is a requisite against Ali and Enrique Freeman. By the way, Freeman, like 21-20 and 6 blocks yesterday against Ohio. Not bad, my gosh. I think Akron wins, Jim. I'm going to thread the needle here and say Kent State covers, but I lean towards an Akron win in the small spread.
Yeah, I think Kent State's just mega undervalued because they had weird swoon in conference play. I missed it, did not identify it until right now. And so hopefully I'm not too late to the party, but I think they keep this game close, potentially win. Really like them +4.5, +5. And I'm also going to best bet the under 131.5. The total in this tournament, 1-5. Only one game has snuck over. It's been really tough for them to score, Matt. And between the two physicality edges that both teams have, they're going to bang in the paint. I think it's a very half-court grind. And the stakes of the game, I don't think either one wants to get out and run. So, yeah, I will lock in the under 131.5 as one of my best bets.
I love it. Low scoring and ugly for a game that I probably won't watch. So that's a good pairing there. Let's talk Conference USA Championship, a conference that's sort of a shell of itself at this point, and the championship has left a little bit to be desired. Sorry, Western Kentucky and UTEP fans. I think we all wanted Sam Houston, if we're just being honest about it. But here we are, a clash of styles, Jimmy. UTEP's offense came out of nowhere yesterday. I'm not sure if that was just sort of a lucky surge of shot making and scoring, or if Sam Houston's defense was completely broken spiritually, or all of the above. But Western Kentucky will certainly give up some in transition. They play frenetically fast. So maybe UTEP's helter-skelter guards, Hardy and Powell, can pounce on that. I like UTEP. I think the Joe Golding tournament mojo is starting to kind of show through here. That's my 2 cents. What do you think?
Having watched some of both games, I don't totally buy it. They got down double digits in both games, and then the other team kind of turtled. Also, their opponents are a combined 23 of 44 from the free throw line. Like, that's just luck. Like, that UTEP has nothing to do with that. They've had Sam Houston State was the best free throw shooting team in the conference this year, and they went 19 for 34. Like, that's just UTEP benefiting from the other team turtling a little bit. Maybe WKU does that too as the higher seed, but I don't totally envision it happening. They have been awesome in both of their games, like completely rolled their opponent. I think they probably do it again. I mean, I think they get up double digits, but Kai, does UTEP do what they've done the last 2 games? 24-3 against Liberty and 23-4 against Sam Houston, both in the second half.
Insane.
Kind of boggles the mind. Yeah, as the underdog, just getting the favorite to, like I said, turtle and not play very well. Dante Allen left the game for WKU yesterday. Worth noting, he went to the hospital to get his knee checked out, but they still said he's like a toss-up to play, or we don't know his status for sure. I have to think probably not, given that he went to the hospital for it. I still like WKU, though. A lot of talent there.
They're deep,
Lutz
too.
is a
Very deep.
proven March coach, won 2 straight conference tournaments at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I will take Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean UTEP, what they've done is the unthinkable, and this is why it's impossible to perfectly predict a bracket or do anything like that because nobody in their right mind would have had UTEP to the title game, and especially after watching those two games, Jim mentioned the free throw disparity. It's almost not possible. However, UTEP's defense is legit. It's top 50 in the country. It's the best in Conference USA. They have won 5 straight. It's not like they've been, all of a
Right.
sudden,
Yeah.
I guess, out of nowhere, quote unquote. They have been building up to it, I suppose. WKU clearly has better talent, high octane offense, transition, all that good stuff. Can UTEP force turnovers? Number one turnover rate in the country on defense, 27% in league play, which is crazy. So nearly a third of possessions, they're forcing a turnover.
They get their hands on everything.
Ridiculous.
It's maddening to watch. Like everything gets tipped, and yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about that. Man, I think UTEP, if they win this game, gets smoked in the first round of a tournament. Maybe Western Kentucky can hang around for a bit, but I think UTEP gets smoked. I guess I'll lean UTEP because F it, but I really hope Western Kentucky comes out on top here.
Minors for Kai.
It does feel like this game is just bananas crazy, like deflections and open floor skirmishes and whatever. It's just going to be a really sloppy game, I think, because with both teams, how havoc obsessed they are. Yeah, Western Kentucky's talent's like sneaky very good. Like if you go up and down the roster of the pedigree where they got guys from, and you're right, Steve Lutz. I mean, I think we all think he's a very good coach. So there could be a sleeping giant right now in Bowling Green long term. We'll see. Last one on the outline, we head west to WAC Vegas to the Orleans Arena, where there was an absolute shootout last night between UT Arlington, who are my Mavs. So I'm going to claim my Mavs and my Texans. So I have my Mavs tonight, Kai, against your Lopes.
Yeah, my Lopes.
Up to 6?
High.
That's a big number.
Yep.
It's a big number. Thank you. All right, your thoughts on this game?
No, I agree. It's too high. Love Grand Canyon. They are 2-0 against Arlington. They've been the class of the WAC all year. It'd be a real shame if they missed the dance. The dance deserves this team. They've been incredible. They're 28-3 or 4, whatever they are. They should be in the dance. But Arlington's been great. They've won 8 straight. They look awesome. They're top 3 on both offense and defense in the WAC. The spread's too high, Matt. I totally agree. I lean Arlington on the spread. I hope Grand Canyon gets it done and gets past them. But I'm with you on the Mavs plus 6.5.
Yeah, I'm way with you. The 2 Arlington wins were like way back in December when Arlington didn't even have Philip Russell, and then late January when they were not quite rounded into form, still a little banged up. Now you look at what this Arlington team is, and they rock. They're really good. I have a Grand Canyon to win the WAC minus 125. I'll be hedging way out of that. I haven't decided if I'm going heavy money line on Arlington or spread and trying to thread the needle there, but I hope people keep betting GCU and adding more value to that likely hedge because I don't know. I got very queasy feelings from Grand Canyon last night. They kind of won on individual talent. Tyon Grant Foster just is ridiculous. But Seattle is kind of out executing them in my mind. So yeah, Matt, I really like Arlington here, even independent of my future. I think they're just playing great. And I know you have lukewarm thoughts on this GCU team.
I do.
So-
I gave comparisons to Dayton. I just think sometimes that they get a little too bogged down in their execution and they are prone to these long droughts. Now, their bedrock of size and defense, I think will play up in the tournament, but I don't know. It's sometimes against these teams that are equal or of lower caliber, it just doesn't look as pretty. I'm not going to make UTA a best bet, but I gave it a good hard look. That's all I'll say. Let's go back to the chat mobsters. They have questions. Jim will address those and we'll answer them correctly.
Yeah, we'll start with the A10 from Matt Akers, St. Bonnie's versus Duquesne. Kai, let me double check the number here. I feel like I saw
2. Duquesne
pick
Lane
earlier.
2.
Yeah, now it's 2. Okay, so maybe it wasn't pick earlier. But Duquesne Lane 2, that no, I feel like St. Bonaventure is better to me.
I think the Bonnies are better. I'm really considering making +2 a best bet. So lean towards Bonnies for now. We'll decide in the best bet section.
Okay. Matthew, your Hoosiers got punked by my Huskers yesterday. I loved it. I had a Nebraska bet. Fantastic. Now they take on Illinois, who, boy, needed every bit of Dane Danger down the stretch to take care of Ohio State. I love the Huskers again today, Matt. Am I crazy?
Do you really? Man, I don't like you're crazy, but I think I like the other side. No bet for me. Yeah, but the Tomiyanga just fireworks display in the first half was so fun. I think the number's too short.
Can you tell me what Nebraska is in Bart Torvik since February 1st overall, not just on one side of the ball?
I was going to say really high, but look at the strength of schedule during that run. It's been mostly against the meddling to low caliber Big Ten teams. But is it 20, top 20? Like,
I think it's like top 10, isn't it?
It is seventh.
Yeah.
Seventh with
Jeez.
the second best
Ah.
defense. Since Joan Gary returned, they have just been putting people in the torture
Yeah,
chamber. They're
Gary's very
huge.
important.
It's like besides Tominaga, they're like 6'5" and bigger at every spot. I guess Hoiberg when he comes in too, but they're awesome. Kai, I like them. You tell me why I'm crazy.
Nebraska?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. I lean Illinois. I think Illinois is still the second best team in this league, and I expect them to get done. Now, not saying Illinois should have won against Ohio State. Someone in the chat pointed out the refs were on the take in that game, which is funny.
Wow.
Which is funny, but I lean towards Illinois ever so slightly. But respect to Nebraska. They just own Indiana. I mean, they played them every game. They'd be the number one team in the country. Yeah. Anywho, by the way, Princeton's down like 14 to Brown. That's insane.
The Brown
Yeah,
Bears
wow.
are piping hot lately. What has
They're very
Mike
hot.
Martin gotten into that bunch with? My goodness.
Gosh, March is mad, man.
Yeah. Kai, the other Big Ten semifinal
Yes.
from Ross A, that number one team, Purdue. They are laying 5.5 to Wisconsin, at least as last I checked. There's Braden Smith shakiness. Who knows?
Yeah.
It seemed like he hyperextended his knee, but then Painter after the game said it was a calf thing. Which I just don't believe because I watched it and it didn't have like an impact on his calf. I don't know. What do you think here? Purdue took care of business twice against Wisconsin, but the Badgers have been hot in this tournament.
Braden Smith is a tough MFer, man. I tell you what, one of the toughest players in the country. Give the man some respect. I guess he was on the Cousy Award finalist, so he got respect.
He gets plenty of respect.
I lean towards Purdue. I don't think Wisconsin can guard Edey, obviously, and I think Purdue's just awesome. So lean towards Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue
Smith
wins. I don't
matters
think
a lot,
they.
though.
What'd you say, Jim?
I think Smith matters a lot, though.
If
Yeah,
Smith's
it's
out,
huge.
I would not take Purdue. Yeah, that's pretty key.
Why would they play him today? Why would they even
Yeah,
push
should
him?
rest. Should rest. Should keep
No
him out.
idea.
Like nothing
You are
matters. Get out of the
locked
first
into
weekend.
a top 3
Right.
seed. You're playing in Indy no matter what.
You should already have your flights booked for next weekend, but your entire itinerary should be mapped out after what's happened in recent years. Not to dig up old demons here, like nothing today matters. Nothing today
Yeah,
matters.
play Heidi a ton, play Colvin a ton like you did yesterday. Let him get his feet wet in a big game. Maybe try to solve what's wrong with Caleb first because he has completely just. If
Yeah.
Dick in the chat has any thoughts on that, I don't know what the hell happened to that guy, but he's broken.
So I guess
All
why
right,
are we
Matt-
not betting Wisconsin, Jim? To put a bow on that real quick.
Can't force turnovers.
don't-
That's Purdue's
I
biggest
don't trust
weakness.
him. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I watched
Maybe.
I watched the first game at the Cole and Edie kind of ate inside and I don't know.
God, we're soft. All right, continue. Let's go.
Matthew from the Zanger Metro Atlantic final, Fairfield laying 3 against St. Peter's. That's another one where I've got a tourney future. I feel like I might hedge because Fairfield makes me really nervous. And Kai, you already predicted that the St. Peter's rider would win. Winner would win the tournament. Matt, your thoughts on this game? Fairfield laying 3.
Yeah, I think St. Peter's dictated the tempo of the game yesterday, helped them. I think they do that today, not to Fairfield's strength. They're much better in the open court. They're calling it guard you now. We like Fairfield's guards.
They're great.
They have some real size up front with Mr. Yetna, Greenlit, but I think St. Peter's with Corey Washington, who is like worth 7 points to his team. I think they win today. The Peacocks are going to be peacocking in the dance again.
As a 16.
It's not a peacock.
Yeah, I'm curious because Marist was super hot early, and then Fairfield really buckled down defensively. Saved my best bet under. Those guards are crazy. Like Fields, Leach, Goodine, Leachmore, Floyd, all can have a big game.
They're all good.
It's nuts. Best guards in the conference. Kai, let's see what else we got for you. How about St. Joe's VCU?
Okay.
The other semifinal in the A10. I know you're very familiar intimately with both of these teams. You've had
Right.
intimate times with both of these teams.
Yes.
St. Joe is very much rising up with their talent here, but VCU also preseason expectations, top 3 team. What do you think today?
I think I'm going to keep riding with Joe's. Lean their way at +3. Eric Reynolds, man. If you didn't watch him against Richmond, he is legit. He is, you could probably call him the best.
Remember the name.
Second best guard in the league behind Jordan King. Eric Reynolds has been absolutely insane this season. He can carry teams. And also, St. Joe's has like 2 or 3 other guards that can do the exact same thing when they want. Esendoko, that guy's going to be an absolute stud in a year or 2. He might be a power conference transfer eventually if he decides to leave. I lean towards Joe's with respect to VCU.
Go back to power conference. He came from Providence, right?
He's a freshman.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then I love Fleming. They're like 5-man that can switch all 5 spots. Insane defender. Like he's an NBA caliber defender to me with his versatility. But VCU's playing really well. They're big on the perimeter. I got no check there.
Check the coaches, kids. Check the coaches before you get involved there. That's all that.
Hey, Billy Lang beat
Billy.
Chris Mooney, who I think is a pretty good coach. The reason St. Joe's is winning is not because Billy Lang. It's because of
Yeah,
their
right.
talent.
I agree. Well, they got some good dudes though. They got some really nice dudes for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. A lot of dudes.
All right, Matthew, last one, I think, in the chat. I'm not sure we've hit every single game, but the MEAC final, Howard and Delaware State. We mentioned Stan the Man Waterman at the top of the show. Now we get back to him here. Both these teams went gangbusters in the second half to knock off the favored team. Howard now laying 4.5. This is a lesson, kids. If you bet a team in the regular season and they don't win it, bet them in the tournament. That's what I did with Howard, and I did not back it up. I did the same thing with Wagner. You got to run it back. Otherwise, you're going to get real mad at yourself. All right, Matt, your thoughts on this game?
I like Howard here. Beat Delaware State twice in the regular season, and it's easy to beat a team 3 times, they say, or at least I'm told. So I think this number's a little short. KenPom has it won, so maybe I'm off in that assumption, but I know my ratings from KenPom get so different by the time it's this part of the year. I like Howard. Yeah, you don't agree, Kai?
No, I totally agree. I'm surprised KenPom hasn't won. Del State's been flying under my radar all season. They've really had a good year. They're not your father's Del State.
They muck it up, man. They do the changing defenses crap that's kind of hard to prepare for on short turnaround. Not very into their offense at all. It's terrible, but the defensive stuff is real with them. So perhaps an under, as somebody mentioned in the chat. I don't mind that at all. I believe that's it, guys, from the chat mob. Yell at me in the chat if we missed a game that you wanted us to hit on, but I think we might have hit everything. So we can go to best bets.
Best bets. Who's going to start? Kai seems ready.
I have the one out there with Akron and Ohio under 131.5. I am debating what else, if anything, I'm going to add. I'm going to add Oregon plus 2.5. That's a total gut bet for me based on the way they played yesterday and the talent coming into the year that I thought they had. So that's it for me. Those two, Akron, Ohio under 131.5 and Oregon plus 2.5.
Matt, you want me to go?
I would like you to go.
Okay.
I've already said South Florida, correct? I gave South Florida as my best bet, so I have one more to add as well.
I'm going to take the Bonnies plus 2.5 against Duquesne. It's a team I thought could win the league preseason. Just going to stick with my guns there. And then I'm going to take Arlington. I'm going to take Arlington plus 6.5. Yep, against Grand Canyon, despite my love for the Lopes. Yeah,
that's smart. Yeah.
I want to double it up with Kai on that one, but I won't. I'm going to stick with South Florida, my Bulls -2, and then I'm going to go with Mississippi State plus 8 against who are they playing? Doesn't matter. They're playing. They're going to cover
Auburn.
it. No,
Auburn.
Thank you. Yeah,
I can't stop thinking about John and Kate plus 8 when you say Mississippi State plus 8. Like, I don't know why.
John and Kate
it's
plus
ringing
8,
in my head.
I can see Chris Shan's being a huge fan of that show. I like Chris Shan.
Honestly, I could do.
Love Jans. Like him in tournament formats, and we like those guards. Like the guards there. Sorry, Auburn. No Q1 win for you today. That concludes our presentation. Short and sweet, trying to get you out of here before the 11 a.m. Central tips. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. Good luck to you, both in your adventures today and in your wagers. May the 3-point variance be ever in your favor. One last request to like and subscribe before you head out. And thank you to Circa for making this all possible.